Hello, this is Andy Yanutkan, Salesforce MVP, and I wanted to give you my recap of Dreamforce 2025. So I watched the keynotes and a couple of sessions. I read all the announcements, and here are my top 7 takeaways from Dreamforce. Let me just list those for you and then explain what they really mean for me. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give my honest review and assessment of, how this Dreamforce went in terms of the content, the new releases, functionalities, and the announcements. Now, number 1 is the Agentforce 360 platform. Agentforce has been renamed yet again. Now it's called Agentforce 360, but this doesn't seem to be a pure rename. We have actually new functionalities that have been announced. One of those would be the new Agentforce Builder. It seems like the new Agentforce Builder is a much better experience than what we had previously. One of the significant differences there is going to be your scripting capabilities, right? With the new Agentforce Builder, we are able to use something called agent script. The biggest problem that we had building agents was the fact that, we would create topics and we would load them with instructions, and the topics would have actions available to them, and we would describe in the instructions what to do, and the topic would actually change it up every time. They were not predictable, they were not reliable. So Salesforce saw this pain point and they developed something called agent script, which you use inside your topics. Now your topic will have if and then type of instructions which are deterministic. And if you're using actions that are out of the box, combining them with if and then logic, then you are actually stepping into the deterministic logic, which should be producing predictable outcomes for your customers and clients, which is a good thing, right? Another functionality that we have here is something that kind of has been announced, but it didn't draw a lot of attention, is the fact that we can use external LLMs for the Atlas reasoning engine now. Up until this point, it seemed like Atlas reasoning engine was something proprietary that Salesforce has been developing, and they were kind of proud of that functionality, but based on the feedback that we have received from several people involved in the ecosystem, it was not really producing great results. Salesforce has decided now for you to be able to use external LLMs of your choice, so that your agent can decide what to do based on the Atlas reasoning engine using the LLM of your choice. So that is, I think, an important change, of course, in terms of how Salesforce handles agents. It seems like Salesforce wanted the Atlas reasoning engine to be their moat, and that would be something that the clients would come to Salesforce for. They would stick around, but it doesn't seem like that functionality has been developed very well and has been hugely successful, which made Salesforce decide to kind of play ball with other LLMs, right? That is actually a good thing, because now if you want to use the Salesforce ecosystem, you want to use the Agentforce capabilities of Salesforce, but there is an LLM that you trust more than others, you can now bring that into your reasoning engine as well as your LLMs that you use for your prompt builder and for your topics and actions, right? Another news that we've had, which is significant, is Agentforce Voice. This is an anticipated feature and it's going to be available, it seems like, in October 25. We have seen a demo at the Dreamforce keynote. Now we are going to be able to decide what our agent should sound like, and our agent is going to have full-on conversations, voice conversations with customers and clients. And we are going to be able to deploy these to be able to make phone calls, respond to phone calls, and complete transactions purely based on voice. So this is an important announcement that many have been waiting for. The other announcement was the Data 360 functionality. Now, this seemed to be more of a rename, pure relabel, than like a groundbreaking new functionality, because the Data 360 announcements all were linked to the Data Cloud web pages that Salesforce already had. Obviously, the Data Cloud functionality has been expanded, like you would imagine. Salesforce is talking about the fact that, there is more governance around data. There is better capabilities in terms of processing structured and unstructured data. Obviously, there is RAG and MCP capabilities and all that good stuff. But, I don't think there has been something groundbreaking happening there that would be worth mentioning here for this recap. Another new functionality that Salesforce announced that is a shiny kind of functionality that, they made an important point to share is Agentforce Vibes. Now, Salesforce jumped on the bandwagon of coding assisting AIs. So Salesforce launched their own, and Agentforce Vibes can be immediately used right now in Salesforce orgs. They have been deployed to all orgs, whether you like that or not. You can launch it in your production org, you can launch it in your sandbox org, and inside Code Builder that's based on the web browser, you can use Agentforce Vibes. You can also use it in VS Code. And Agentforce Vibes will follow your instructions and generate, for example, Lightning Web Components for you. An interesting announcement related to that was you no longer need to develop things in Apex or JavaScript. You can actually use the language of your choice to develop your applications. Agentforce Vibes will create full-on applications for you, flows for you, and there is a functionality that is coming. It's going to be able to let you preview the Lightning Web Component locally on your computer, which is going to be hugely useful for developers. Well, we have two announcements related to Slack. Before I go into those, let me just say Slack capabilities have been emphasized in Dreamforce, and Salesforce is saying they are pushing for a future where we are going to converse with our CRM, and we have said that before. We have seen that before from Salesforce's side, but the advancement of capabilities and the integration with Salesforce has been very, very slow on the Slack side, but we have seen developments, right? So the integration is getting much better. Now, Slack is going to facilitate the interactions with your CRM on their side, and Salesforce is boldly stating that in the future, the UI is going to be irrelevant. So you are going to converse with your CRM either using words or using voice. And there are two significant announcements related to that. One is now we have third-party agents in Slack. We can connect our Slack to ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini. So that's an important development because that was not possible before. You can use those apps and install those into your Slack org. And that'll give you capabilities like summarize things, search for things, have these LLMs write communications for you. All that stuff is going to be available. And you can ground, obviously, all that functionality based on your past history of interactions in Slack. And Salesforce also announced the advancement of Slackbot. Slackbot is a bot that's very limited in functionality. It is available in all Slack orgs, and Slack has been developing this functionality recently. Now, Slack is announcing that Slackbot is going to be your AI assistant inside Slack. So, there are many Slack customers that are not Salesforce customers. They may not be able to use Agentforce, but they are going to be able to use Slackbot to search through Slack, to summarize information, to have Slackbot write communications, draft communications to others, and all that good stuff. Slack also announced enterprise search capabilities in this Dreamforce. Another important announcement related to Agentforce, one of the important pain points that many clients mentioned was the fact that the visibility, the observability of what's happening in your agent was not really there. So there are two related problems with that. One is it's very hard to predict the volume and the cost of deploying the agent. Two, you have agent making decisions and communicating with clients, and you don't really have enough visibility and observability on what's really happening. You know, how many escalations are taking place, what's happening, how many interactions should I have to intervene, and all that stuff now is going to be available for most clients. We had already a scale center and related capabilities deployed to unlimited clients. Now this access is going to be expanded to most clients with additional functionalities. So as a result, as you can see, this was more of an evolution rather than a revolution in terms of additional functionalities that Salesforce announced. If you ask me, I thought this was not really one of the strongest Dreamforce sessions, announcements that we have experienced in the recent years. We've had different Dreamforce sessions where we've had important and significant functionalities announced, but at the same time, knowing that there are significant challenges for Agentforce adoption that Salesforce is promoting, and there are significant pain points, this was a much needed Dreamforce where many of these pain points were addressed. So it was actually an important milestone on the Salesforce side where they seem to have increased interoperability, integration, orchestration capabilities of the platform, where they brought in more capabilities from other platforms and competitors, and they kind of showed that they want to play nice with the other platforms and attend to their clients' needs, whatever their needs are. You know, if they have already invested in different platforms, Salesforce is going to play along with that, integrate with those platforms, and provide them a solution that they can work with. So hopefully this will work out in terms of Salesforce's strategy, and the adoption for Agentforce will rapidly increase. We are going to see what's going to happen in the coming months and years.